All right. My name's Danny Camden. I'm Vice President-elect of Trade and Industry Division, and I'd like to thank you all for coming out to um, our trade and industry in a time of uncertainty. I'd also like to thank and introduce their panelists, which is Dan Belcher,
Good afternoon, everybody.
Kyle Holt, President of SP2,
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Dan Belcher is Director of Workforce Development for NCCER, by the way. Sorry. Also, Ty Kang, Manager of Harbor Freight Tools for Schools, and Shell Travis, Executive Director of SkillsUSA.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so we're going to give 8 minutes to each of our panelists to share their knowledge and information via opening remarks. I'll go ahead and get started with Dan.
Well, thank you, Danny. I hope everybody can hear me, and I just want to say thank you to all of you that are on the webinar today for your continued support of the education system and making things still work. I know this is trying times, and we here at NCCER realize that, and we're excited to take part in this webinar today to tell you a little bit about what we're doing at NCCER and some of the resources that we have available. I know that we'll get to the resources a little bit later on, but for those of you that do not know, NCCER is a 501c3 nonprofit education foundation. We are the National Center for Construction Education and Research, and we provide a comprehensive workforce development system around standardized training, assessments, credentials, and these include over 10 industry sectors and 70 subject areas that we have training in. We have our own career awareness program and recruitment through Build Your Future. We have a rigorous accreditation process that ensures integrity and standardization of programs all across the United States. We have instructor and training certification through a national Train the Trainer program. We really are the workforce development arm for the construction industry to help organizations really understand how to implement construction craft training as well as construction management training. We're excited to be able to talk more as the conversation goes along today about what we are able to do. We appreciate those of you that are using NCCER for your training curriculum and for those that are helping get students their credentials. One of the things that we have been able to do during this time is to help organizations really ramp up some of their remote online training. And so we've had a series of webinars and trainings that we have provided to instructors that will help them be able to at least do the knowledge portion of what NCCER is known for as their testing. And then with our publishing partner, Pearson, have also been able to give away digital resources that are going to be able to help you be more successful in your class. And so just again, I appreciate everything that you all are doing as the frontline people, and you are some of the unsung heroes for what we are going through, and NCCER appreciates everything that you do. So thank you very much.
Okay, Kyle Holt. I thought I unmuted myself, but I guess I didn't. Thanks.
Okay. All right. I'm going to share my screen momentarily here, guys. So got a couple of slides here, so bear with me. I hope that you guys can see this all right. At SP2, we've been providing online training for career and technical education since 2002. And as many of you already know, we focused for most of the past 20 years on safety and environmental, but we've expanded that to include ethics, soft skills, HR topics, and we currently work with over 3,000 career tech programs across the country. We're training over 200,000 students on an annual basis. And we've got schools that use us both through our SP2 website, as well as through the Cengage MindTap system. And we've got training for automotive service, collision repair, heavy duty diesel, welding, construction, and cosmetology and culinary. We try to make sure that we take care of all 7 of those sectors in terms of safety and environmental. But then we've also got these soft skills courses, and that would include anything from personal professionalism, communication skills, telephone skills. We've got HR courses on bullying, sexual harassment, violence in the workplace, anger management, things that oftentimes we gloss over in school, but we've worked with so many of the career tech programs, many of you included, for so many years that a lot of you guys have incorporated this into your program, and now we're trying to make that student better prepared to enter the industry, and that's always been our goal. We also work with some third-party organizations, including WD-40, Valvoline, the Automotive Lift Institute, and Daimler Trucks. We're providing these additional third-party industry credentials included with our with the SP2 industry-specific training that they apply to. So if you've got programs that fall within the auto service, collision, heavy-duty diesel, and welding programs, some of these credentials are already included in those training packages. And then we, like I said, one of our goals is to make sure that students enter the industry and they're prepared. And one of the ways that we do that is we help schools by providing them with a course on how to build a resume, where students actually go in, they fill in the blanks, they create the resume. Any credentials that they've earned through SP2 are automatically added into their resume. And we've got our SP2 career system, which is a resume database of over 78,000 entry-level candidates across the 7 areas that we serve. And employers are out there using that to recruit day in and day out. So I wanted to share just briefly, and I know we're going to get into this, but some of the things that we've seen during the COVID-19 pandemic. We've seen a strong increase in requests for industry-specific training, and that comes as no surprise to anybody who's on this webinar. We've had over 150,000 training modules taken since the stay-at-home orders went into effect, and these are students who are taking those training courses from home, whether it's on their mobile device or on their computer. We've seen a 150% increase in the credentials that are being taken. And we've seen over 1,000 students who have either updated their resume or have created their resume and posted it to our SP2 career system just in the past 2 weeks. So I think that what that shows is learning hasn't ended. It may have slowed down for a week, but it picked up and it's been going with a vengeance. And these students are now having to think about, okay, when summer rolls around or whenever the stay-at-home gets lifted, am I going to have a job? How do I make sure I get a job? How can I make sure that I'm out there in front of employers? And then we've also seen an increase in interest from schools on the soft skills and HR training topics, because it's more training that they can provide to the students, as well as covering topics that can be covered from afar when it's harder to put hands on a vehicle, or be in a salon, or be in the kitchen, or be on the construction job site. And a couple things that we expect to happen. We expect to see that unemployment keeps going up over the next few months. We expect that the unemployed from much of the service and retail sector are going to start looking for a career, and in order to do that, they're going to have skills. We expect to see an increase in career tech enrollment during the fall of 2020 and throughout 2021. And we also anticipate, we're in play anticipating that there will be limited in-person schooling in the fall of 2020. So we're working to make sure that we're ready for all of the schools that will continue to have to do distance learning come fall. We expect that some schools may be in session, but many schools and even some parents and students are going to be fearful of going back to school in the fall. So we're moving forward. We've always been in online training, and we'll continue to be in online training. But we're expecting that many, many, many more of you are going to have to continue to do distance learning throughout the COVID-19. So, yeah, thanks.
Sorry. Okay,
Danny,
with that, Tay, from Harbor Freight. Are you in? Are you here?
Yes, I'm in. Sorry, I wasn't able to check in earlier, but good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tae Kang. I'm the program manager of Harbor Freight Tools for Schools, which is a philanthropic initiative of the Smith Foundation, founded and by Harbor Freight Tools owner Eric Smith. And our initiative is aimed and dedicated to lifting up excellent skilled trades education across the country. And everything we do, much like yourselves, is for that purpose. So to that end, we're really excited to share in a few weeks that we have launched and commissioned two first of its kind research reports at Skilled Trades Education nationwide. The first is a study of skilled trades programs across the country conducted by Jobs for the Future. And the second is a poll by NORC at the University of Chicago, which is a great opinion research institute that of parents, voters, and teachers about skilled trades education and careers. So stay tuned for that. But in the immediacy of this, this crisis and this time, this really unprecedented time, we as an organization are sharing different resources that we ourselves as a team, as well as teachers across the country, have pulled together to share with you, whether that's, brief like classroom project ideas that you could do, what students could do while working at home, or other resources, learning modules, infographics that are pulled at our website at harborfreighttoolsforschools.org. You could visit our website to find those updates and those resources there. And then thirdly, as you all may know, Harbor Freight Tools for Schools has a prize for teaching excellence, where we award more than $1 million to 18 outstanding teacher and teacher teams across the country. And we are in the midst of our fourth year of that prize. I have a short video here that I could share with you in case you've never heard of it, or in case you're interested. I'd love to be able to share this video with you, and then happy to help answer any questions about it later on. But let me share this screen.
At Harbor Freight Tools for Schools, we believe that skilled trades teachers are heroes. That's why, each year, we give away more than $1 million to some of the best trades teachers across America. Teachers who inspire students to pursue in-demand, fulfilling careers. Teachers who are passionate about their work. Teachers like you. So, let's back up. How do you apply for a chance to win the prize for teaching excellence? Just go to hftforschoolsprize.org and create an account. Once you register, you can log in to the online application. First, we'll ask where you work, what you teach, and whether you're applying as an individual or a team. Next, we'll get more in depth with a series of questions about why you're passionate about your work, how you develop hands-on skills, and how you help students prepare for their futures. We love stories, so please share what makes your classroom an incredible place to learn. And last but not least, we'll ask you to think like a student by watching a short video and doing some reading, then responding to the ideas in them and how they apply to your teaching. That's it. You'll be ready to review and proofread your application, then click Submit. Thank you for taking the time to apply. We can't wait to hear from you.
I'll share that link in the chat function so you can check that video out for yourself. But what I'll also do is you can visit and learn more and begin to register and apply at hftforschoolsprize.org, or you could just Google or search Harbor Freight Tools for Schools Prize or anything like that, and you'll be able to get there. And you could begin registration and your application. Applications are due May 13th at 5 p.m. Pacific time. But it's, during one of the silver linings, and I'm sure we'll get to this further, is, while people are working from home, you may have some more time to reflect on your program and the impact that it's made. And we We look forward to hearing from you and getting your voices. And that's it. And let me just end here this section by saying I'm really honored to be part of this conversation during this unprecedented time. And we're here as an organization to help support you and your programs in the best ways we can. So thank you very much for all you do.
Thank you. And now we'll go to Shell Travis.
Okay, thank you, Dan. And thank you to ACTE for bringing together our CTE community and allowing SkillsUSA to be a part of this very important presentation today. I want to thank everyone that is on this webinar for the life-changing work that you do every day, especially during this time of crisis, and your dedication that you've shown to our CTE students nationwide. You truly will help to keep America moving and keep CTE moving. And I'm so appreciative of the work that you do every day. For those of you that don't know, SkillsUSA is a national career and technical student organization, and we serve over 400,000 members nationwide in middle schools, high schools, and colleges across the nation. In more than 130 different skilled and occupational trades and service occupations nationwide. What I'm going to talk to you about today and some of the services that we are providing in this crisis, our partners are assisting us. Our partners have really stepped up to the plate and are assisting us in providing these resources, not only to our members, but to those in our CTE community that are in need, to make sure that we can reach our CTE students across the nation. And Stephen, I think you have something that you are going to pull up for me. One of the services that we provide and one of the programs that we provide is called Career Essentials, and Brandy's going to bring something up for me in just a moment. What I want to share with you today is as part of a resource that we are providing instructors and students across the nation to help focus on those all-important career readiness skills. The SkillsUSA Career Essential Suite engages students in defining, implementing, and measuring their career readiness skills along every point in their educational journey. Whether it be a middle school student, a high school student, or a college post-secondary, including our adult learner population. So there are different experiences that are targeted to each one of these groups. The SkillsUSA framework that you see on your screen includes 17 employability skills and is the root source of the Career Essentials curricular resources. For each framework skills, there are 3 levels of competencies, and those competencies are taught and assessed through 4 different course assessment curriculum bundles, each leading to its own credential. So what the resource provides you is not only curriculum that you can use with your students for their career readiness skills, but also in the end will have a credential. Our complementary offerings that our partners are assisting us in providing you can see on your screen. You can see on your screen the different levels. Exploratory is appropriate for ages 12 to 14 and it takes approximately 25 hours to complete. Fundamental is for ages 14 to 16 and approximately 30 hours of learning, 35 hours of learning events. And advanced for 17 to 19 takes approximately 45 hours of learning there. And then the adult learner, for our adult learner population, ages 20 and beyond, it takes approximately 45 hours of training to complete. The bundles that you see are available according to age, and each include a pre-assessment, a project-based instructional course that contains e-modules and project activities, and a post-assessment as well. Normally, these bundles cost between $25 and $65 each. However, our partners during this time of crisis have really come together to have complimentary offerings available. And you can go to the next slide. Our generous sponsors are providing a limited quantity of the curriculum bundles free of charge to local instructors and students. The complimentary access provides not only access to the curriculum through the end of this year on the SkillsUSA Learning Management System, but also training and a certificate for teachers. So training for you on the implementation of this resource so it can assist you in how do you implement that into your online learning classroom. And support and help along the way. We do have a hotline and call centers available to support this complimentary offering as well. I want to thank our current sponsors, and we are garnering more sponsors to have more available. But our current sponsors include Lowe's, Harbor Freight, that joined us today and showed the great opportunities that you are also providing our students through scholarship programs as well. Ferguson, Pella, Channel Lock, and Volvo. And more sponsors are coming along to make sure that we keep the learning of our CTE students moving forward. If you're interested in accessing this opportunity, you can see the email on your screen and the subject that you need to include, indicate the bundles you are interested in and quantities, and then indicate how many teachers will support the students and commit to training, and include any initial questions that you have. Once you submit that, a Career Central coach will contact you to confirm your use and also then provide you access. In addition, if you want to learn more, there are videos and flyers and informational text that you can share both with your instructors and administrators. If you'll just go to careeressentials.org and you'll find different resources there about this resource. And also you can contact our Career Central coaches that are available for you if you do have any questions before becoming involved. Also, to support continued learning for career and technical education, SkillsUSA joined with partners, and on the next slide you'll be able to see this, not only in our career readiness skills, but also to provide those hard skills that we need to provide our students as well. So to support continued learning for career and technical education, SkillsUSA joined with partners you can see on your screen to form the CTE Coalition to keep CTE moving. All the participants are contributing resources to the Coalition's Keep CTE Moving website that you see on your screen as a central portal where instructors and students can access online classes, videos, and instructional materials in machining, welding, mechatronics, construction, Industry 4.0, and programming, to name a few. All of these resources are available during this time of process, and we now have 11 partners that have joined in this effort to provide free cost or low cost resources to our CTE community. Also, I want to encourage you, if you don't see your trade area included there, there's also for our partners, there's a way to request to be included in this effort, but we add new partners every Monday. So wanted to make those resources available to you as soon as possible. Now we have 11 partners, and we will have more partners coming on if you do look online first of next week. So again, thank you to ACTE for bringing this great group together today and allowing us to share a little bit about the resources that we make available.
Okay, now we'll move into question and answer time. If you guys have questions, go ahead and use the chat feature. I've been seeing you guys do that already, so that shouldn't be that big a deal. One of the things that came out in Shelley, a lot of her resources already, but how many of the other guests here or panel members have free or low cost resources that our instructors can use? And if you guys want to talk about those real quickly.
Yeah, Danny, I'll go ahead and go, and Shelley, and we are partnering with SkillsUSA also, and we were one of the organizations on there. If you don't mind, I'll share, if I can, a screen real quick and a couple things that are here. Let's see, This is our NCCER virtual training option. So as I mentioned earlier, Pearson Publishing has helped us by providing free resources. So there are resources available for the online curriculum. There is also a link to a LinkedIn page that we have created for instructor forum for instructors to be able to share what they are doing in the classroom, what are some of their best practices that they are seeing. We also have another page, which is our remote proctoring. So for those individuals that are going to be utilizing the NCCER testing, this is a way for them to go through the remote proctor training and be able to get on to be able to utilize the training, as well as this is a link to our LinkedIn instructor forum page. So if you are interested in joining this, look for that on the virtual training webpage, and we'll be happy to bring you on board.
And Danny, I'll go ahead and jump in here. This is Kyle from SP2, and we've got our workplace mentoring program, which is available at no cost. It is specific to the transportation trades, but it deals with it's something that can be valuable to any of the trades out there, and it addresses what should be understood from a mentoring standpoint for the mentor, for the mentee or intern, and for the person who manages a mentoring program. But then also all of our SP2 training programs are just $299. It's a training bundle, anywhere from 5 to 11 courses in each training bundle. And those are $299. Train everybody at your school. We don't have there's no per person charge or anything. It's an annual fee. We want you to train as many people as possible because we believe that every student deserves the opportunity for a safe and successful career.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
What we have here at Harbor Freight Tools for Schools have done is hosted a lot of Zoom calls, but similar to this one, with a lot of our previous prize winners who've, a lot of them, are in similar situations, the same situations as you all, and have hit the ground running and come up. So we've gathered their ideas and their suggestions. We posted them on our website at harborfreighttoolsforschools.org. A lot of the resources are free, and probably the best thing about it. And hopefully they can spur some continued thinking. A lot of our partners mentioned here are on there as well, but just some other ideas, some other small project ideas to get kids through the day or through the next couple of weeks. Those ideas are on there as well. So feel free to visit our website, again, harborfreighttoolsforschools.org, and we'll get some good ideas to spur some thinking. Thank you.
Okay, and Shelley, I'm going to give you a chance if you had anything else you wanted to add, or we'll go on to the next question.
You can go ahead and go on to the next question.
Okay. Given the extremely challenging times that we're in, please tell us what you feel is the most important for leaders to be doing right now.
So Danny, I guess I'll jump in first. This is Kyle from SP2. I think that we've got to prepare for the long haul on remote learning, whether that's just for, I'm hopeful that it's just for the remainder of this school year, but I'm not optimistic of that. I believe that we're going to be looking at some continued e-learning and distance learning come the fall. I think that until there is an actual, a vaccine in place, I think that we should all be prepared to and worried about it coming back strong in the fall, of parents and students being concerned about going to school at any level, not just career tech education, but any level of schooling. Just to wrap it up, I think that we should also expect an influx of career tech students over the next 2 years. Even though we've got to look at this remote learning for the long term, I think we should all be expecting to see a huge increase in interest in career tech education in all fields.
Yes, this is Adolphus Washington from Sandia High School in Albuquerque, New Mexico. You had asked what are some of the things that we think we would be needing. One of the biggest things we need to know is what does the industry really need as far as when we're developing students' skills. The safety, I understand, the SP2, I even have it for my schools. But then when it comes to the skills, we're changing so rapidly with the technology and trying to get students to understand and be flexible within both environments as far as industry and education. And we get different signals. We get signals from our institutions in the schools, and we also get different signals from the industry. So now that we have everyone here, is it possible for us to get a better understanding as to, let's say, 4 to 5 years out, we probably will not be working the same way we are with the automotive world. So we need to be starting to lean towards going from traditional to the more electrical. And that's pretty much on, from what I can see, pretty much on all areas. What do you guys see? Can you help me with that one, please? If you heard me.
I could start. I think there was a great article in the Wall Street Journal by a colleague and partner of ours, Rick Wartzman from the Drucker Institute, that said the important qualities in this time in leadership are adaptability and flexibility, and those are two traits that we here as teachers can model, especially during this crisis. But I would say one of the things that our teachers have continuously said is that they're going to try to work on soft skills, right, including adaptability and flexibility during this time. That one of the things that we can work on, soft skill training, helping them develop for careers, resumes, interview skills, those types of things that are really crucial to land a job in the 21st century. So adaptability, flexibility, soft skills. Those are three things our teachers
When you have heard soft skills, isn't that more of a professional skill? And I understand the trend that we went through, but more and more we need to have kids ready to go into industry and be prepared to work with that. But yet we keep trying to call that soft skills when they're interacting with peers or someone there. Is there a difference there?
I think that's a great question. If it's okay, I'll jump in on this real quick.
For sure.
I think that we've got to look at soft skills as a professional skill, but also as an interpersonal skill. If a student, and especially in a time like this, where, let's be realistic, when somebody can't be in the shop area, or they can't be in the kitchen, or they can't be in the salon at school learning for the last 2 months of the year, there are going to be people who are graduating, going into the industry at a disadvantage from a technical standpoint. And so having the soft skills that they need so that they can ask for help and say, look, I need some mentoring. I need some opportunity to get somebody who will help grow me and lift me up, because I may not have had that portion of training that I normally would have received. I think that we've got to look at soft skills as just as important right now as the technical skills, because, and I would also say that industry has to be prepared, and I don't think that they are, but industry has to be prepared for those incoming entry-level skilled workers, to train them up and to start filling in some gaps that maybe got missed there at the end of their education. Adolphus, would you agree with that?
I do agree.
Okay. Sorry, I teach on Long Island, and we're part of Eastern Suffolk BOCES system. And as far as the soft skills, I do have to say all of our teachers, we have mandatory industry contact meetings, and all of our industry partners are simply saying, can you send us someone who's trainable? We'll teach them the skills we want them to know. And those soft skills are huge. And they go hand in hand. and in a situation that we're facing now is really, how do we connect to the kids that are having trouble with the communication, with having the courage to ask those questions and still stay connected. The ones that can do it are the ones that are super trainable. They'll learn those skills. They're going to be hands-on one way or the other. But it's those other kids that really we have to drive home those soft skills, organizational skills, time management. And I am a lead advisor at my campus, so thank you, Ms. Travis, for showing up. And that framework is huge. We focus on that framework, the 3 parts of it. And so, yeah, any one industry, you guys know it's an industry. We're afraid we're not teaching the kids everything in our curriculum that they need to graduate with. But I'm thrilled that I was at least able to cover the soft skills that they can leave with. So, yeah, now our biggest issue is testing. How do we test? So that was it.
May I say something? My name is Frank Portuondo. I teach diesel down in Miami, Florida, Robert Morgan, and I've been in service management both at Caterpillar and at Mack Trucks for over 22 years. And now I'm teaching the diesel program, and I focus, like Ms. Cliff said, focused on soft skills on entry-level students. And I have placed already 4 students that very little technical skills, but they are trainable. And they're doing very well, and industry is wanting more students like that. They'll teach them how to fix the equipment, the trucks. They'll work with them, but when they come in so enthusiastic. They're on point with their paperwork, with their documentation, with their interpersonal skills, with their peers. They respect authority. They go in with their safety training from SP2, which we drive into them from the first day in class. And then we work hand in hand with industry in developing their skill sets. They work on the job, and whatever specialty they need some work on in the classroom, I will tailor their curriculum, individual curriculum, to work with them so they can excel at a rapid pace in the current job they're at. So Ms. Cliff in New York is on point. And whoever else mentioned the soft skills, that is, as a former manager that did a lot of hiring from both technical schools down here in Miami, soft skills is what lacked tremendously, and is what's desperately needed in industry. I would teach them how to fix stuff, but they needed to come with those interpersonal skills that are not easily trainable from the industry standpoint. Thank you for your time, everybody.
There's a lot to be mentioned about soft skills right now, and I agree with everyone on this, and I've had quite a bit of success with my kids as well on it. But one thing I was wanting to ask, or what we were wanting to ask, is, and it's of our board, is how are the trade and industry programs that you're working with creatively dealing with hands-on or kinesthetic learning that is fundamental to so many, that we don't have the shops to get to right now. We don't have the kitchens. We don't have the job sites. How's everyone, as far as our panel, what are you seeing everyone do out there to deal with that?
Well, this is Dan with NCCER. We are seeing several of our programs, because the hands-on component is a huge area that we have, is, looking at liability concerns about what is appropriate to do at home when it comes to using hand tools, power tools. Are you able to, do you have a welding lab? Do you have an electrical lab set up and things? And kids aren't going to be able to do that. So, NCCER is looking at ways to bring about some of that hands-on component in a variety of different ways. We haven't quite worked it out yet, but we're working very closely with partners like DeWalt and Miller Electric and Greenlee Tools to figure out, what are some of those areas in which students can be safe at home, but also be able to do those performance components that come along with it. And there are just some areas that you're just not going to be able to do. And I believe that that's sort of a question that is out there is, as we look at what students are, what they can and cannot do, how are states adopting and looking at standards for completion through this school year at least? What will that look like? Will this look a little different by state? We know several states have totally canceled school for the rest of the year. So what are they doing to make sure that students are ready to move on to that next aspect of whatever they decide to do, whether it is going into the workforce or going on to some sort of post-secondary education? It's I think at some point in time we are going to see the emergence of VR or AI technology to come into play, but that's going to be expensive for individuals to be able to do that at home. So I know there was a question on the panel on the or question about remote areas. How are remote areas going to be able to tackle this situation, such as testing and hands-on training skills? If you have the answer, that would be great, and you could make $1 million right now.
This is Tay from Harbor Freight Tools for Schools. I think one thing to remember is don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good or necessary. I think that can be a hindrance sometimes. We want to create this perfect plan or perfect lesson plan, but in this time, it's really hard to do so. So don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. But it's also, I think, have students use what they have at home, whether that's like building things out of household materials or, looking at their car, their neighbor's car, trying to figure out, or when they go for a walk around, like when they go on for, a walk while practicing social distancing, maybe they can look at different, buildings if they're doing construction or if they're doing, different, monuments for welding, like see what they can do with the world around them. And then there was something in the chat about teachers in rural areas. Like I know a couple of our teachers in more rural areas have, made kits and then dropped them off at their students' homes, or just while practicing kind of social distancing, just dropping them off and then, sealing it out and cleaning, just some ideas that or things that they could work with, like a metal grinder, and they could use it while working at home, so to not lose of what they've developed in their classroom. So just some ideas.
So I have a question. One of the things I continuously think about is, what does the industry need? We hear about the different things, and the reason I ask that question is, since we're in this position, is it a better time to start to thinking about or looking forward to what is the industry going to need, so that we can start to, even with the technology that we're using, so we're going to have the kids on the online now, can we start focusing on what the companies need for 5 to 10 years out, 2 to 3 years out, so that we can focus our attention there? Examples, I teach computer-aided drafting. One of the things that I see some people doing is going to virtual reality. So I'm trying to get equipment that's going to train towards virtual reality. I walk into Harbor Freights and I see different equipment that's being put out for the customers. And are they going to lean towards the same things, or is it going to start shifting, especially with the new types of equipment that's going to be used as far as safety goes, be it face masks, be it clean gear, be it tools. The hardcore, in my opinion, the hardcore things that we were forcing and going down probably about 3 months ago, probably is going to shift to more of your in the middle things, and then first doing things in or through the internet, or before we go out to a hardcore store. So what do we need? What do companies need the teachers to actually start to focus on students on within this environment that they're going to be living in now?
Hello, my name is Marty Mangan. I'm with the California Industrial Technology Education Association. Am I being heard because I'm not on, my face is not online?
We can hear you.
Okay. We represent mostly woodworking, cabinet, construction, welding, manufacturing, auto, and drafting and architecture teachers throughout California. And I'm mostly interested in curriculums that can interface with high school programs, either ongoing programs right now or particularly startup programs. I'm also, my background is that I'm a retired shop teacher. I taught construction, ROP, and when I was teaching, I had a SkillsUSA club, and for about 20 years. So I love this organization. I'm, in fact, the executive director of California, Clay Mitchell, for California SkillsUSA, sits on our board. But to get back to my point, I'm very interested in curriculum that can be used in those 5, 6 areas that I just talked with.
Thank you for your response. That is something that I would be looking at. So I also teach automotive and the computer-aided drafting. So the curriculum that I'm looking at, I would just be focused on making sure they understand the curriculum and know how to interact with reading and all that, those type of mentalities based off of the fact that is where we're going to be going. Am I incorrect with that? As far as making sure that they can interact with information.
Well, I'm familiar with NCCER and in the construction area, but I'm more interested in knowing, particularly in that area, the curriculum that interfaces with high school programs.
Well, the NCCER curriculum does interface with high school programs, and you can utilize the current offerings from our publishing partner Pearson for that virtual learning. It will integrate, our NCCER Connect will integrate into most LMS programs that you have. So it is available to be able to be utilized. You know, one of the things that I keep hearing about is the question is, what does industry need to have over the next 2 to 3 years? I think one of the responses from industry is going to be, you know, we're in such changing times right now that industry is going through that same questioning process to figure out, what do we do? How do we change training? You know, high schools and community college programs have training that occur. All industry is also doing training. And so how does training look in a different limelight? I think everybody is thinking about that right now. So Mr. Washington, your question is very relevant even to industry. How is industry's instructors going to adapt to what's going on? One of the things I will say is that as you all are thinking about these challenges and looking at where to find some of those answers, make sure that you're tapping into your advisory boards. You know, are you really utilizing them to their fullest? And if you're not, maybe it is time to rethink, how do I have my advisory board set up? Do I need to relook at partners that maybe are not doing what we need them to do? And are the partners leading you into what students really need to be doing?
Dan, this is Kyle. You went exactly where I was going to go. I was going to say, if you want to know what industry is looking for right now, ask your advisory board. And it's a perfect time to ask them too, to say, what do you need now? What are you going to need in 2 months from now when I have students graduating? And what are you going to need a year from now? What do you think you'll need a year from now? Because the reality is life and the news and everything is seemingly changing on a week-by-week basis, and sometimes even on an hour-by-hour basis. So it's hard to anticipate what life is going to be like even a month from now, let alone a year from now. But if you ask industry what they want, they'll tell you. And I contend that with the shortage that we have in the skilled workforce out there already, there are going to be a lot of people on the streets, and there are going to be, some of industry is going to say, hey, this is a great time for me to start hiring the people that I need to fill the positions. But those are people without skills. And a lot of times they're going to be saying, you know, why don't you go down, if you're already talking to them and they're on your advisory board, a lot of your industry partners are going to say, well, you know, why don't you walk on down the street to ABC Career Tech? Because they're in a year from now, you'll have the skills where I can put you in as an apprentice or an intern or an entry-level position. And in 2 years from now, you know, I'm really excited to see what you can do, because I have a relationship with that instructor, and I know that they can give you the skills that you need. I believe we're going to have a huge influx into career tech education. And I think as instructors and administrators, you've got to be ready for that.
Okay, I've got a question for a panel. It seems everyone's come out of the woodwork to share the resources related to distance learning lately, with everything going on. Some stronger than others. How do we decide for quality online and curriculum, for that matter, versus non-quality, to our panel?
Danny, I'll start with that one. You know, I think that what you are going to look at are who are those quality organizations that are out there that are helping provide some of this training, whether or not it is ACTE, it is advanced CTE, any of the student CTSOs that are offering resources out there. You know, it is this idea that this is something people could be jumping on the bandwagon very quickly, but look for those tried and true programs, those LMS systems that are going to be that are being utilized within the school system itself. Also looking at different ways to connect. You know, are there virtual tours that students can take as assignments to different places? Are there different things that students can do? But all of these organizations will have those resources available. So make sure that the teachers are tapping into those. And every organization will have somebody to be that go-to person. So if you're not sure who that is, look it up on their website and reach out to them, because they'll be more than happy. All the organizations that are on the CTE Coalition that Shelley mentioned earlier, the organizations that NCCER partners with, very happy to share what resources are out there for people.
Yeah, and I'll chime in and I'll say, similar to what Dan just said, look for the brands that have either strong brand recognition on a national basis, or that have been around a long time and have been working with career tech education. I believe that we'll see a lot of fly-by-night stuff that comes out of the woodworks. But you know, when somebody, you know, a large company, a national brand offers something up, you may not get it may not be the greatest quality training that's out there, but it might be something that has some value to it. But if it's a brand that you don't recognize, or you know, it hasn't been around for a long time, that may be where you get a little bit skeptical. You know, I mean, we've been working with SkillsUSA. We've been participating in the national competition for years and years. And if SkillsUSA says, hey, here are some brands that are putting something out there, that's something that you can trust. If ASC on the automotive, collision, and diesel side, if they say, hey, here are some things that are brands that are putting information and resources out there that you can trust what ASC says. So I'd say look to the organizations that support your industry, the large companies within your industry, and the companies that have been around for a long time working with career tech ed.
Just quickly pitch in here. One of the things we've done here at Harbor Freight Tools for Schools is ask teachers like yourselves, again, on Zoom conference calls, and they've given us what they've tried and what's worked for them, what hasn't worked. But we've kept a curated list. Again, if you go to our website, harborfreighttoolsforschools.org, you can see the kind of curated resources from teachers like yourself. Several of them are mentioned here, right? Electude, or was one of the ones mentioned in our chat, and that's one of the ones mentioned on the list. And I would agree with Kyle and Dan with the tried and true organizations like themselves.
I was wondering what organizations offer industry recognized credentials. The reason being the construction trades program in Michigan was recently told that we have to start offering credentials to our students. So throughout the next school year, 4% of students in a technology center or a CTE center are required to get an industry certification. So I was wondering if you guys could talk about industry credentials that are offered through your programs.
Well, Kyle, Jeff, this is Dan with NCCER. Would be very happy to talk with you about the credentials that NCCER is able to offer in the fields of construction, and connect you with some of our other organizations that are already utilizing in the state of Michigan. So, whether that's in basic carpentry, electrical, plumbing, heating, welding, we are more than happy to talk about that. So feel free to private message me on the chat, and I'll be happy to share some information with you.
And Jeff, this is Kyle. From a construction standpoint, the credentials that we offer through SP2 would be our SP2 safety, environmental training, the credentials on interview skills, ethics for construction, building a resume, the programs that we provide that are part of our construction bundle. But the third-party credentials that we provide, unfortunately right now, we only started offering third-party credentials in the 2019-2020 school year. So we've got credentials on WD-40, on for Valvoline, for Daimler Trucks, for the Automotive Lift Institute. Those are all on the transportation and welding side. However, I do know that WD-40 is coming out with a construction version of their cleaning, storing, and maintaining tools and equipment specific to the construction trades, and that should be in our training bundle for the 2020-2021 school year.
Jeff, this is Mike Gurley from North Carolina. We're part of the NCCER group here in North Carolina, and I've been teaching NCCER for about 20 years now, and it's worked good with us down here. In fact, all of the construction in North Carolina has to go through the NCCER in the high schools.
And Jeff, just to let you know, SkillsUSA does offer industry exams as well, and the Career Essentials curriculum. I'd be happy to talk to you offline, or anyone to provide that with to ACTE, just about our partners. If you're looking for a source for some tried and true folks for not only curriculum resources, but also those industry certifications in our 130 different occupational and trade areas that we represent, I'll be more than happy to share that. Many of them, several of them are on the webinar with us today, but also can share with you other resources that are available to institutions nationwide.
Okay, with that, I'm going to draw it to an end here, but I wanted to thank everyone. We had a great deal of information given out today. All of our participants and our board members, I want to thank you guys all. Also, provide ACTE feedback on resources, especially hands-on augmented reality that might support educators. And thank you, and stay healthy, everyone.